Well, this is a big project just starting today. I'm standing in my doorway of the garage, just to give you some reference. The carport's been there for a few years. It was there when we bought the place. We just bought this house about 6 months ago, and we want to put a garage in there. So we're going to remove the carport, put in a garage, and to do that we had to cut down a bunch of chestnut trees. And you can see the excavators here today. This is their first, that's the first stump, his first two stumps there that he's knocked out. And man, they just pluck right out. But we'd like to take the grade down about 2 to 3 feet there to try to make it level with the concrete and put a 40 by 64 building in there. So we have already had the phone line moved. The power line should not be an issue. It should be deep enough, and it's yet to be determined if the water line will be an issue. But the water company was unable to locate the line from their valve at the road back here to the house, and we're not entirely sure where the line to the house is. Well, here we are at the end of the first day, and standing in the garage again. Hopefully it's going to show up how much different it looks. He got a lot of work done on that machine, you know, for one day. We found the old fiber optic cable that was just installed about 4 or 5 months ago. So that was, we knew we were going to hit it. You can see that orange, I think you can see the orange conduit sticking up out of the ground there. When I had this all marked, they went right across the building area. So we knew that was going to be a problem. So I had the phone company come out and install new conduit and fiber optic cable that goes down over the hill and up along the fence line. So everything we busted up today was expected, and that had been disconnected for about a week or two. So that was no big deal at all. It looks like he's probably took this down, I'm gonna guess that's 3 foot lower than what it was. So moved a tremendous amount of dirt today. He and I were both very surprised at how wet the ground is. We had some rain a few days ago, but I was expecting to cut it down about 10 inches and it'd be, you know, dry as a bone and hard. And that is not the case. It is really wet out there, and you can see by the size of the clumps of dirt and just how wet it is. One other thing I was very surprised by was the size. You see that big rock there? The size of the rock that they used as a base for this driveway. I don't know exactly why they made that rock so big, but that was kind of a surprise. The propane tank has been moved. It was, you know, it was this side of that big oak tree, you know, 10 feet or so. Or I guess it was just to the left in this way. But we got it moved down there. Propane company came today and moved that, and I helped the guy. We ended up busting a drain line, a 4-inch. Actually, it was 2 lines that were running right next to each other, butted up against each other. Must be a perimeter drain or something. We cut them with the trencher, so I've already fixed that. Had some pieces of 4-inch line out by the barn, so I went ahead and fixed that. I got to push the rest of the ditch in, but that's pretty well done. So that's nice to have that moved. Well, it's the beginning of day 3, so I think the last little clip was the end of day 1, so you can see what has happened during day 2. Got everything kind of more or less finished, graded. The operator's there waiting on gravel. We had to relocate the water main. We found that yesterday, so that's why the yard got tore up a little bit here. We relocated that line to now go around the driveway, where it was coming kind of a straight line from the corner down there right up here. So now it follows the outside of the driveway, so it'll be out in the yard, so it shouldn't be in any danger of being crushed or anything. If we get something heavy back in here, that's, I wouldn't expect that to happen, but it's really coming. Again, he was pushing all the extra dirt and tree stumps and stuff down there below the pond dam, and the pond is really cleaned up. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. Of course, the pond itself is really, it's got full of duckweed and weeds and stuff, but now I can see the pond. I'll do some more cleanup down there, and we'll get the pond dressed up and maybe put a fountain in it. It's going to take a little time, but I think that could be a really nice little water feature here off the side of the yards. Here we are at the end of day 3 of excavation, and the site is ready for the barn. The excavator just left out of here about 10 minutes ago. It's about 5:15. I hate to guess how many tons of gravel were put out here, but looks like he put down a road base, and then I'm gonna guess 8 to 10 inches of road base under a good bit of the pad here. Then this is called 53s, at least in our area. That's what the local place calls this, 53s. This will pack together. It's crushed rock all the way down to powder. The pad is a little bit lower than grade out here. The barn site is a little lower than this, and that's in anticipation of the concrete pad to be poured on top of it. And he left the gravel pulled back from the edges a little bit, so hopefully that won't be too big of an issue of drilling the holes and getting a bunch of dirt up on the gravel and stuff. So that'll be all cleaned up after the barn's built. It looks totally different out here than it did before, I can tell you that. All right, guys, well, it has been a rough couple of days for me and these cameras and this filming. So somehow I deleted files that I didn't mean to delete, and I lost a few days of construction updates for the barn. About 2 days after I screwed those files up, the camera fell off the back of my tractor, and of course I ran it over and crushed it, busted the screen and my new snap mount. And then I think it was a day or two after that, I hadn't learned my lesson and deleted some more files that I didn't mean to. So I'm going to make the best out of this video with what clips I have left. The barn itself turned out great. This video project did not turn out nearly as good as I had hoped, but we're going to make the best out of it. Well, here we are at the end of day 2 of construction on the barn. You can see some things are laid out here. They still have to put the windows in, and the door's sitting there. That'll be the only framing that I think they need to do. Otherwise, I think all the wood's up. I lost all the audio from yesterday. Something happened with my camera. But today, they hung all the trusses and finished, all the rest of the wood framing. Tomorrow, they're going to be back, and the plan is to start on metal tomorrow. So I'm not sure if they'll do the roof first or the walls, but we'll see. Well, I was grading the driveway off for those big ruts, and I got it pretty good for tonight. The construction guys will be back in here, and I'm sure they'll tear it up again. Not quite as bad as those concrete trucks did, but found a little surprise one of the concrete trucks left me. They cut a big rut in through here. It's pretty soft from where we had all that excavating done. So one of the drivers must have cleaned out in that rut, and I found a big chunk of concrete. There's my foot for comparison. I'm going to guess that's probably a 200-pound chunk of concrete. There's a little busted off piece of it there too. That was kind of a surprise when I hit that with a tractor bucket. Well, let's wrap up this train wreck of a video with a little bit of summary of the work that was done. So we did 3 days of site work, you know, tearing out the stumps, grading off, putting gravel down. And I did look back at my invoices for gravel. 411.6 tons of gravel. So a lot more gravel than I expected we would need. The barn took a little over 7 days. There were 2 guys came out for like 3 or 4 hours one day and formed up in front of the doors for concrete. So just a bit over 7 days of construction for the barn. They did not finish any of the interior. It doesn't have any electrical work. Those will be things that I'll do, and I'll make videos of those in the future. They did hang all 5 overhead doors. So we've got insulated doors on all 5 openings. Of course, we got the walk-in door. We had the contractor also install, when they did the doors, they went ahead and installed openers. Those are on batteries. That's that beeping you hear right now. They have a battery backup system. And I think I'm going to like these motors that are mounted to the wall. I'm used to the garage door opener motor hanging out here in the middle. But these are mounted on the wall. I think I'm going to like that. I've heard real good reviews of other guys that have those. The floor turned out great. They did all the, you know, that one crew did the construction. They also did the concrete. They did, you know, of course, all the metal and the garage doors. The only subcontractor that these guys use is for the gutters. So that'll be about a week before they show up. But they poured the floor one day. They came back the very next day and cut the relief cuts in all the floor and hung the doors and finished up all the trim, you know, the day after they poured the floor. So I'm not going to park anything on it. I'll walk on it, but I'm not going to park anything on it for 4 or 5 days just to be safe. Just a real quick recap of the size. Again, I don't know if I ever did discuss it. The building is 40 feet wide by 64 feet long, and the ceiling height, I was shooting for about a 10-foot ceiling height, but I wanted to make the doors 9 feet tall. In our last building, the doors were only 8 feet tall at our old house, and I had trouble pulling trailers in. Some trailers I couldn't get in, and I would then have to work on them out in the driveway. So I think that 9-foot door should allow the trailers that I need to come in. So to do the 9-foot doors, they had to bump the ceiling height up. It's actually 10 feet 2.5 to get those 9 feet doors to fit. I did this bay, this overhead door, and this sort of, you know, open area here. This is going to be my workshop area. Those other 3 bays will be for parking and storage of, you know, tractor, boat, cars, stuff like that. But I wanted to do an overhead door in a straight line with this door. So if I have anything really long trailer, you know, other weird long project, I can either pull through if I have to, or if I had something really long, I could hang it out the back and work on it. You know, just I wanted that option to be able to pull through if need be. Again, no electric yet, but that's going to be something that I'll do. I'll plan on putting electric, insulate, line the walls, and then do the ceiling. So if you want to subscribe to see the videos that I do on finishing this barn out, we're real happy with how it turned out. And if I helped you with this one, click that thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos of me working out here on stuff or working on this barn, click the subscribe button. And until the next video, keep on tinkering.